Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So on this channel, we've spent a lot of time talking about the presidential primaries and taking on the GOP establishment there. However, we haven't really spent a lot of time talking about these Senate primaries, which, we did a lot of that before the 2022 midterms because there was no presidential election, but still there are some rhinos that we do need to get rid of, some major rhinos we can get rid of, and there's really only one senator that I think will realistically have a good shot to be primaried out. Maybe we could look at a state like Mississippi where there may be a prominent primary challenger there, or maybe another convention in a place like North Dakota, who knows. But the main senator we need to focus on in the primary, who potentially could lose their primary, which is another thing because senators usually don't lose their primaries, but seeing how many of the impeachment 10 in the House went down and how unpopular Mitt Romney really is, it's very possible that Mitt Romney could go down. It's not going to be a cakewalk. Utah is a unique state, and there will be a lot of crossover support from Democrats to vote for somebody like Mitt Romney, who bends over backwards and caves at literally every single opportunity. It's not even just the Trump hatred, which is getting him labeled a rhino here. There's a lot of it and a lot that we're going to be talking about, but he's filed paperwork to run for re-election, so we have to talk about it. There's declared candidates in the mix. We're going to get into that later, who's exactly going to take him on and win, but I will say this, we have to settle on one challenger, because if we don't settle on one challenger, we're not going to be able to necessarily get enough support to take away from Romney to really take him down. So that's what it comes down to, unifying behind one candidate, the candidate who is the best candidate with the greatest shot to defeat Mitt Romney in this primary. So we'll do a little bit of background. Romney, 2016, opposes Donald Trump in the primary. Doesn't even vote for Trump in the general. He didn't even try to pretend to come around. Then Trump kind of embarrasses him at this dinner where he was floating the idea of Romney as Secretary of State, and thankfully he didn't pick him, although whoever was picked was not exactly much better. Then Romney, instead of challenging Donald Trump in the primary in 2020, he decided to run for Senate in Utah, which is a state that he really didn't have any ties to besides, he's Mormon, he lives there now, despite him serving in elected office in the state of Massachusetts, of all places, at the beginning of the millennium, and spending a lot of time in his developing years in the state of Michigan, where his father was governor of the state there. So, regarding Utah, the primary, Trump endorses him. He should not have endorsed him. Romney, would he have won anyways? Well, he won 71-28. So there's a very good chance he would, but still, Trump should not have endorsed him, especially given what was to come in the Senate. He didn't even govern in the Senate like he campaigned on his 2012 presidential campaign, which was a total disaster, not necessarily because of policy, but because you're taking this guy who, he was regarded to be a decent governor for the state of Massachusetts, even though he was kind of a liberal Republican there. Whatever, he had to be. Then he goes and he runs for president in 2008, fails in the primary, gets the nomination in 2012. Make no mistake, it was a winnable election. Obama's approval rating was not super high for the majority of 2012, and it did kind of spike late, and that's true, mainly because Romney didn't effectively attack him. Romney was nowhere to be found, and yes, Hurricane Sandy arguably helped benefit Obama, but still Romney just essentially died on the campaign trail because he was nowhere to be found the last couple of weeks, didn't do his job properly, went out there, lost states like Ohio and Iowa that are voting for Trump by 10 plus percentage points, was not a good candidate whatsoever, and kind of proves that overall, just because you happen to be a part of the GOP establishment, that does not make one electable. And a lot of people are finding this out the hard way, but it's very true. Then Romney wins the election in 2018 in Utah. He becomes senator. He wins by over 31 percentage points or so. and then he gets to the Senate. He's been there almost a full term. We've seen him in there for nearly 5 years now. And this is exactly what he has done in the Senate. He's been a complete RINO ever since, 2016. We know that. He exposed himself completely. We already knew he was a part of the establishment, but now it's like full on. He's one of the worst RINOs now. He's one of the worst members of that establishment, globalist, neoconservative uniparty. And that's true. 2020, the guy marches with BLM. He's supporting their lies, their destructive lies that cost many lives, cost, billions of dollars in property damage, and kind of have driven this wedge into the culture based off of lies. Nothing more than lies and a lack of understanding of data and extreme media sensationalism. Mitt Romney plays directly into that, despite claiming to be a conservative, a true conservative with an R next to his name. He also didn't vote for Trump either time. He didn't vote for him in the primary, obviously, but he also did not vote for Trump in the general election. What does that prove? It proves that he is comfortable with a Hillary Clinton 2016 victory, defended her on his alt Twitter account. Maybe he voted for her. Who knows? He claims he wrote in, I believe, his wife or something. I don't even know. And then when it comes to Biden, he didn't oppose Biden at all in 2020. In fact, there are rumors that he, behind the scenes, encouraged Biden to run. We can't confirm if those are true or not, but read between the lines. The guy clearly wanted Trump to lose both times, wanted Hillary to win, wanted Biden to win, because if he didn't, he would have supported Trump over them, even if he wasn't voting for Trump in the primary. Complete and total RINO. He joined Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins to vote to confirm Ketanji Brown Jackson. Very weak on crime, weak on a lot of things. And now you have a far-left judicial activist on the Supreme Court because they didn't want to try to block it. Also, he voted to impeach Trump twice for things he didn't do, whether it was the perfectly good phone call or the fact that they created this lie, Trump told people to storm the Capitol. Did not exactly happen. You can go back. You could look at Twitter, which they deleted. You could look at his statements on that day, even before that day, telling people to be safe, be peaceful, you name it, whatever. Romney bought the lies. He fed into them time and time again. On top of that, he is a neocon on policy. We know this. He voted against decreasing troops in Afghanistan many times. He couldn't also keep his 2012 social conservatism. Romney kind of paraded himself as a big social conservative back in 2012 as he voted to codify gay marriage into federal law. 2012, he opposed even civil unions. But 2022, no, he's codifying it into federal law. Not only that, back in 2002, he was the one that kind of was the guy to start the domino effect of legalizing it, which started many domino effects of a lot of other things that we're fighting against today. And he was a Republican governor doing that, by the way. On top of that, voting for Biden's gun bills, voting for Biden's spending bills, also promoting red flag laws, you name it. He's a big neocon. He's a massive shill for the war in Ukraine, wants us to get involved as much as possible, sending money, potentially sending troops. He would easily vote for that. And even Mike Lee, who isn't perfect, but is the other senator of Utah, is opposing that. And Mike Lee is not committed to supporting Romney in the primary, which is a very good thing, by the way. On top of that, we know he's a globalist. He's been weak on trade. He's talked tough on China, hasn't really backed it up by anything. And he's also weak on immigration. He has a career C+ grade from Numbers USA, which is a 61%. I don't even know why they call it a C+. That's like a D-, a borderline F. And he's an all-around loser. He lost us 2012, arguably single-handedly, because he was such an awful robotic candidate. And who else is somebody without a personality who's had, touting their record as an electoral juggernaut at the gubernatorial level, as somebody running for president right now that we're not going to talk about because this video is not about them. But you look into Romney, objectively, this guy needs to go. There's no reason for anybody who's even remotely conservative to be voting for him in a primary. There's just not. But still, we know how these things work. You have a lot of normies. You have a lot of people in Utah who are weak. Oh, I don't like Trump's tone. Oh, it's offensive or something. I don't know exactly why these people are the way they are. Not a lot of Mormons that I know personally are supportive of Mitt Romney, but you do have a lot of people on the ground who are a little different. But still, Romney is somebody that's not viewed as favorably as he was in Utah. Make no mistake. He is vulnerable in a primary, and you're looking at the people who potentially could run. Trent Staggs is the candidate so far. If it was just Staggs, Romney, and this other guy, Staggs would have my support. I don't know who else is going to jump in. You have the Speaker of the House in Utah who has formed an exploratory committee. And honestly, I just want somebody who's going to be solid, not a RINO, and defeat Mitt Romney. If my preferred candidate on policy is only polling at 4%, and there's somebody who's decent overall and a lot better than Romney that's polling at like 30%, I'll support them. You also have Jason Chaffetz in the mix, some of these other people. Becky Edwards is actually worse than Romney, from what I can tell. She's like a complete liberal on everything, like Romney and Liz Cheney and all these other RINOs had a baby. Sean Reyes, who's the current Attorney General of Utah, I think he would potentially be a decent candidate if he does decide to run. But like I said, we need to settle on one candidate. I'm going to support the candidate at the end of the day that has the greatest shot of defeating Mitt Romney in the primary. That's what it is. And whoever it is going to easily win the general election because it's Utah. Before any of the electabros start chiming in, oh, Romney's needed for electoral purposes. What are you talking about? Utah's a state that is like R plus 20 or so. And down ballot, compared to Trump, it's even redder. So that's the way it is. Romney needs to lose his primary. Will he? It's not a guarantee. He's backed by McConnell. He's going to be backed by a lot of people in the Senate leadership, and that's not a good thing. They need to stay out of this primary, but they are, in fact, going to get in it. And I'm sure Trump will endorse against Romney, campaign against Romney. So this is another Trump establishment proxy war that's going to be developing here. We'll see what happens at the end of the day. But it's like we haven't exactly seen a lot of movement and support on this race so far from either side, other than some establishment backers jumping to the defense of Mitt Romney, which is just at total odds with the voter base of the party. And it's just quite sad if you ask me. But that's what it comes down to. Defeating this guy, defeating RINO Romney. Can we do it? Hopefully we can. It's a little too early to tell, but if there's a senator that we need to knock off in the primary, it is none other than Willard Mitt Romney. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Red Eagle, out.